Welcome back, everyone. Let's face it, the Trinity is hard to understand. And we all know that Muslims especially love to criticize Trinitarian theology. This criticism eventually does what it's intended to do, unfortunately. For example, the 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 argument hasn't typically been effective with me, but something changed when I heard it for the 543,000th time. The same thing with the question, if Jesus is God, did he pray to himself? That took a bit longer, but it really hit me when I heard it for the 1,287,567th time. Or what about the question, if Jesus is God, did he send himself? My faith was severely challenged by this and so much more until I found a very helpful discussion in another context that helped me tremendously. It's so helpful that I wanted to share it with you. I don't know the name or identity of this scholar. All I know is that he is a really fly guy. And by fly, I mean he likes to record his YouTube videos with his fly open. I interpret this as an indication of his supreme self-confidence. Let's see how this fly guy can help us as we work through some apparent problems in Trinitarian theology. First of all, should God be subjected to human logic?
I know, let's try to bring it down to a logical level and try to explain it in a logical way. And what I don't understand is this. Why do we have to understand everything? In the context where, why does it always have to be logical? Why does it have to be something where we're like, oh, explain it to me logically, or, I'm going to start doubting things. I have to understand this logically. Who do you think you are?
That helps so much. Not everything has to make sense. Fair enough.
Why do we have to understand everything?
Does that mean that I should not elevate my intellect over what the text says? In other words, I shouldn't place my aql over the naql?
The problem is this, taking the aql over the naql. That is exactly our problem, and we apply this into our day-to-day life.
But we want to know these things, don't we? We're curious. We want to know. We want to know everything. But can we?
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare they?
How dare you?
How dare they?
How dare you?
Now we're making progress. Next question. Is it correct to say that from our human perspective, we can't fully understand God?
You might not comprehend or understand or doesn't make sense to you now, and try to bring it to a human level and in a logical way and try to answer it and be like, oh, this might be robots.
But doesn't this have to be this and that have to be that?
And I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I'm talking in general. This might be this or this might be that, etc. No.
Okay, so maybe there are things about God that we can't expect, predict, or comprehend now.
Where we're all going to be like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought of that if you told me to think about it for a million, billion years.
But is there any room for doubt here at all?
That is what it is. Period.
This is helping so much, but we still have a few things to clear up. This isn't quite making sense entirely yet.
I don't need to bring it to how does it happen, but it doesn't make sense to me. Who cares with your little brain? Who are you with your little brain to try to understand these things?
So that seems insulting and a little bit Christianophobic, to be honest. I'm not the world's smartest person, but at the same time, I'm not...
Who cares with your little brain? Who are you with your little brain?
Okay, that still seems rude.
Who cares with your little brain?
Okay, I've got it. But can we please talk about the 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 argument? Because that one...
Who cares with your little brain?
But what about the prayer thing? I mean, if Jesus is God, then who did he pray?
Who cares with your little brain?
But if Jesus is God, did he send himself?
Who cares with your little brain? Who are you with your little brain?
Wow. So many great answers. I wonder why this fly guy didn't tell us any of this sooner.
That's the main reason I'm doing this video, because I've been keeping this in for the past 1.5 years.
Profound words. In summary, we have little brains. Not everything is subject to logic, and not everything makes sense now. All of those issues like, did Jesus send himself? Who did Jesus pray to? And the 1 + 1 + 1 thing aren't really legitimate challenges, and we don't need to think about them. But there still seems to be a problem. Something tells me that we should be able to make logical sense out of all of this.
If you think about this, if Jesus is God, did he send himself? Like he said, and if you look in a logical manner, it doesn't make sense.
How dare you try to bring something which you might not comprehend or understand or doesn't make sense to you now, and try to bring it to a human level and in a logical way.
And if you look in a logical manner, it doesn't make sense.
Who cares with your little brain? Yani, who are you with your little brain to try to understand these things?
It doesn't make sense.
You might not comprehend or understand, or it doesn't make sense to you now.
It doesn't make sense.
Why do we have to understand everything?
Christianity is one of the main reasons that atheism is spreading all over the world right now.
Yes.
Because it does not make sense.
Who cares with your little brain?
If you think about this, yeah.
Who cares with your little brain?
If you think about this, yeah.
Yani, who are you with your little brain?
And if you look in a logical manner, it doesn't make sense.
The problem is this: taking the aql over the naql.
What we're trying to say, think of it.
With your little brain.
Think of it.
With your little brain.
When you have one God and another God and another God, three gods, it doesn't make one God.
That is what it is. Period.
It doesn't make one God.
I would have never thought of that if you told me to think about it for a million, billion years.
Well, now I'm back to being confused again. So what have you learned from this video featuring one fly scholar? Well, that's a great question. I'll give you three things. First, focus on your righteousness. Second, always zip your zipper before recording a YouTube video and when leaving the bathroom in general. And third, Muslim Dawah gangs are nothing if not hopelessly inconsistent. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Look at the double standards.
Who cares with your little brain?
If you think about this, yeah.
Who cares with your little brain?
If you think about this, yeah.
Yani, who are you with your little brain?
And if you look in a logical manner, it doesn't make sense.
The problem is this: taking the aql over the naql.
Look at the double standards.